nei suoi discorsi lei parla, in Italian, I'm sorry. I better translate this. Nei discorsi lei parla della morte come di un annichilimento di una nostra. I don't have to read it in Italian, I'll translate it. In your talks, you speak of death as a total annihilation of our total existence. But you affirm also che vi è immortalità, eternità. Qual è il significato di una immortalità? I'll put the question. Right, sir? May I? It's written down by our friend, Italian, and he's asking this question. In your talks, you have said that there is total annihilation, and also, that is, after death. And also you have said there is immortality, eternity. And what is that state of eternity, timeless existence? Can one exist in that? Have you understood the question? Is it clear? I'll repeat it. The questioner asks, in your talks you have said, death is total annihilation. And also, you have said, there is immortality, a state of timeless existence. Can one live in that state? That is the question. First of all, I said, please listen, I did not use the word annihilation. I've said death is an ending, right? Like ending attachment. When you end something, like attachment, something totally new begins, right? This is obvious. When I have been accustomed to anger all my life, or greed, aggression, I end it. There is something totally new happens. Right? If you have done it. I have followed my guru with all the gadgets he has given me. And I realized the absurdity of it. I end it. See what happens. There is a sense of freedom. The burden which I have been carrying uselessly. I said, death is like ending an attachment. And also, we said, what is it that has continued through life? Do you understand my question? We put death in opposition to living. Right? Is it so We have put it. We say death is at the end. That end may be 10 years or 50 years or after tomorrow. I hope it will be 10 years for you. But this is our illusion, this is our desire, and this is our momentum. It is like asking how to face death. You follow what I'm saying? I say you cannot understand that, how to face death, without understanding of facing living. Death is not the opposite of living. I wonder if you understand all this. Shall we go into this? You want me to go into all this? You aren't tired? I'm surprised. I think the much more important question is not how to face death. What is immortality? Whether that immortality is a state in which one can live. What is much more important is how to face life. How to understand this terrible thing called living. If we don't understand that, not verbally, not intellectually, but living it, finding out what it means to live. Because we have, to us, living as we are is meaningless. Whether you are a disciple with all the jewels and all the rest of it, it has no meaning. Going to the office from day to day for the rest of 50 years, slaving away, going to church, doing, all this. What is the meaning of all this? You may give meaning to life, as people do. Say life is this, life must be that. But without all these romantic, illusory, idealistic nonsense, life is this, our daily sorrow, competition, despair, depression, agony, with shadows of occasional flash of beauty, love. That's our life. Can we face that? Understand it so completely that we have no conflict in life. That is to die to everything that thought has built. I wonder if you understand this. Thought has built my vanity. Thought has said, you must be this. Thought has said, you're much cleverer than the other. Thought has said, achieve, become somebody. Struggle, compete, like the Olympics. That's what thought has put together, which is my existence, your existence. Our gods, our churches, our gurus, our rituals, our changing names into Indian names, all that is the activity of thought. And thought, as we said, is a movement of memory, experience, knowledge. Which is our experience brings certain knowledge stored up in the brain as memory, and responding, that memory is the movement of thought. This is so if you observe it. So thought is a material process. Right? So thought has made this. My life is that. I am different from you. I must achieve. You follow? And when thought predominates our life, as it does, then thought denies love. Right? So love is not a remembrance. Love is not an experience. Love is not desire or pleasure. No, you'd say, you'll agree with this, but so that's our life. And living that way, we have separated this thing called death, which is an ending, and we're frightened of that. If and when we deny everything in oneself that thought has created, end it. You understand what I'm saying? This requires tremendous grit, not all the nonsensical romance. Your attachments, your hopes, your vanities, your sense of importance, all that is to become. When that becoming completely ends, what have you? You are with death, aren't you? So living is dying. And so renewal. Oh, you don't understand all this. Do it and you'll find out. But we are trained to be individuals. Me and you. My ego and your ego. Is that a fact? Or we are the entire humanity? Because we go through what every human being goes through. Sexual appetites, indulgence, sorrow, great hope, fear, anxiety, and immense sense of loneliness. That's what each one of us has. That's our life. So, we are the entire humanity. We're not individuals. We like to think we are. We are not. You may be clever at writing a book, but that doesn't make you an individual. You have a gift. But when you have a gift to write or sing or dance, whatever it is, that gift is translated as my gift. And when you accept that as your gift, vanity, all the circus round it begins. So when there is a life in which there is no center as me, and therefore life is walking hand in hand with death. And therefore out of that sense of ending totally, time has come to an end. Naturally. But time is movement. Movement means thought. Thought is time. And when you say, do I live in that eternity? Then you don't understand. You can't. You see what we have done? I want to live in eternity. I want to understand immortality, which means I must be part of that. But what are you? A name, a form, and all the things that thought and put together. That's what we actually are. And we cling to that. And death comes through disease, accident, old age. How scared we are. And there's always the priest around the corner telling you to go to heaven. Or if you don't do what he tells you, you go to hell. It's not only the priest around the corner, but the guru around the corner. They're all the same. So can one live a life so completely without a center? And therefore no conflict. And then only that state of mind which is timeless comes into being.